Welcome, my Patreon members and subscribers, to an exclusive episode of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. This episode being NFL head coaches on the hot seat. I am your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the chilly and beautiful confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be watching and listening, I thank you as always. Like, share, subscribe. It helps the channel. As I previously stated in the intro, this episode will be titled NFL Head Coaches on the Hot Seat. I've been waiting to do this episode for a while. It's week 9 just passed. I figured right now in the NFL season, it'd be a perfect time to check out this episode. This episode, as I previously stated, again, will be exclusively a Patreon exclusive episode. So you will have to have a Patreon membership to see it first. For my people that, aren't exclusive to Patreon, it will be a little bit of a wait, but at some point you will see it there. But I had to make sure I took care of my Patreon people first. Diving into this episode, the NFL season has been utterly crazy. There's been a lot of things as usual, going into a season where some teams you expect to be good that, aren't, and some teams you expect to be bad are worse than what they are and possibly better. These coaches, though, I wanted to make sure I took time and went over this list. I gave it some time. I didn't want to kind of do this at week 6, which is kind of just like a lot of clickbaitish type bullshit. I wanted to really make sure I took my time and really looked at it, the teams, the records, all the things going into it, why they are where they are, what the situations are, all of that, which helped me compile this list. So getting into it, and you'll see within the description box of this video, there will be a different list of things that you'll be able to see from the articles. So you'll be able to look at the links and see where I source a lot of this information from. We're going to start with the guy who has already been fired on the list. Now, before I do, jump the gun. We're going to start the scale off from 1 to 4. Now, the 1 to 4 scale is basically stating the fire scale of how hot the coaching seat is. 1 being a simmer, 2 being warm, 3 being hot, 4 being on fire. So, I'm going to get into that. That's criteria again. 1 through 4, 1 being simmer, 2 being warm, 3 being hot, 4 on fire. So, first guy was already on fire. We're going to get into Brian Callahan, formerly of the Tennessee Titans. I mean, can you just say what a fucking rat bastard situation that was? There had already been a lot of speculation with Tennessee, with Amy Shrunk, and I'm forgetting her name. I know she's married. Please forgive me. But the owner now of the Tennessee Titans, a lot of speculation that she was kind of in there not knowing what the fuck she was doing. A lot of things going on to the aspect of this team is just kind of inept and really kind of shooting themselves in the foot and consistently doing the same things over and over and over and over and over again. I have to be honest. I never really felt like this guy actually had it. It seemed like he was possibly a Zach Taylor, Sean McVay fucking retread, for lack of better words. A guy that was just in there stable, who maybe is a good offensive coordinator, but is not a head coach. 1-5 at the point when he got fired, and his tenure in Nashville, he was 4-19. Not great. So clearly had every reason to be fired. And we're looking here, go a little bit further. The quotes into why he was fired. It says here, Amy Shrunk is acting alone. Obviously, that would make common sense because she being the owner, she would make the most important decision, which would be firing, the head coach, which we have to admit, with Chad, I want to say, I have to look at their front office because I'm forgetting the guys in their front. Chad Brinker being in their front office, kind of thought he was going to be the one to kind of make the decision. However, he wasn't. It wasn't really, not too much of a shock there. But I think what's really coming down to it is the Titans need stability. They need somebody that can come in there with this new first-round pick in Cam Ward, with some of the guys in the team, the players that they have. You got to figure out what you have and what you can build on. And I just felt like Brian Callahan never really got going or really had anything to really grow on. You had the number 1 pick in the draft. You got Cam Ward. Outside of that, a couple years ago, you got Will Levis, which I felt like the Mayo guy, which sets your franchise back 2 or 3 years. And again, his first season, 3-14. So it really was never a good start to it. again, consistency, building a franchise that can win. Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons really being the only staples of the franchise. You're definitely going to have to get some more guys in there. But it was a necessary move. It was something that had to happen. Looking here in his statement, it says, after extended conversations with our owner and general manager, we met with Brian Callahan this morning to tell him that we are making a change at head coach. President of Football Operations Chad Brinker said in a statement, these decisions are never easy and they become more difficult when they involve people of great character. Yeah, whatever. We are grateful for Brian's investment in the Titans and Tennessee community during his tenure as head coach. We thank him and his family for being exemplary ambassadors of the Tennessee Titans, which means, hey, thanks for being a nice guy, but you fucking suck, so we got to let you go. No shock there. Again, that was definitely a four alarm fire right there. They say 5 alarm. Fuck that. That was a 4 alarm fire. He got fired, so it was definitely something that needed to happen. Titans have been a dumpster fire, and they need some continuity, something to hang their hat on. I think firing Mike Vrabel was definitely a mistake. Mike Vrabel with Cam Ward, I think, would have been exceptional for this team, but they made their bed. They'd have to lie in it now. Interesting to see who's going to be the next head coach. A lot of guys are out there, a lot of prospects. Looking at some of the early preliminary moves, I got to see here because I was just looking at it not too long ago. Who their coach may be, it's really a great question because, they've kind of went with a defensive identity with Vrabel. That kind of worked out for him for a while, but I think honestly having Ryan Tannehill at quarterback and having John Robinson as one of the worst GMs in football, that definitely didn't help. But you're looking, you just really don't, you really don't know. It's really kind of a blank slate for them. I don't know if the job is really going to be that attractive. I mean, when you're talking about really the only staples being Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons, that means it's a lot to be desired. You need a wide receiver. You need another tight end. Definitely need a running back, so not sure, how Amy Adams-Strunk and Chad Brinker are going to handle this, but they're in a situation where they're going to have to address talent. They're going to get another top pick. I think that is definitely a fact. They're going to be within the top 5, possibly top 10. So they're going to have to make the most of it, but it is no question why Brian Callahan got fired. Who they bring in to replace him will be key. Looking at some of the coaching candidates that's out there, because I want to make sure I have this list handy for you guys, because there are a lot of NFL coaches that are looking for new jobs. However, there are a lot of NFL coaches that don't really deserve those jobs. So, let's see here. NFL coaches available for hire. Let's see. One moment. Okay. All right. So, obviously, you got Bill Belichick out there. You got Brian Flores, defensive coordinator for the Vikings. Not sure if he's actually going to be allowed to make that move currently with the whole lawsuit thing going on. So, we'll see how that plays out. Mike McCarthy can obviously help with offense. Can he really, does he run the ball well? No. But does build a team that is competent and competitive. I think if you're the Titans, that's definitely an option. Matt Nagy, possibly an option, but I feel like you're going through those same doors like you just went with Brian Callahan. And Matt Nagy has proven he can make the playoffs, but unless the quarterback is good, he can't win. Vance Joseph, I think with the performance he's had, especially with the way the Broncos defense has played, he has to be in consideration. So there are definitely some guys out there, experienced, that possibly could definitely, change lives for people. I mean, again, you just really never know. Because, I mean, sometimes owners are looking at guys that you never even thought of. So Tennessee's definitely got a lot of work cut out for them there. This next one, I had this originally at a 4 and it's now dropped down to a 2. 2 being what, guys? Warm. John Harbaugh of the Baltimore Ravens. The start of this season was fucking horrendous for this team. I mean, you had injuries, you had bad play on defense. It's just a recipe for fucking disaster. If you're the Ravens, you ultimately are just kind of looking to tread water and just kind of hope that once Lamar got back, you weren't completely out of it and you could really make a run quicker than what the Bengals would with Joe Burrow, i.e. similar situations. Not only have they kind of rectified the situation prior to Lamar coming back, they look even better with Lamar back. John Harbaugh, I think naturally when you've been a coach this long and you've been in the NFL for as long as he has, you're going to get questions and critique about what your coaching status is, if you're doing a great enough job, if you're going to last. I think all those things are going to be natural questions, but John Harbaugh has coached exceptionally well. This team never quit. I felt like this team continued to fight even when they were going through that early slump in the beginning of the season where they were 1-4, 1-5. Just did not, fold. Did not fold their tents. Did not put tents and put their head into the sand. They made sure they fought and kept contesting. So, got to give John Harbaugh a little credit. So I'm gonna cut him some slack. Like I said, I cut him down to a 2, but definitely still in that seat if the Ravens implode, down the stretch. Next, we're going to talk about Mike McDaniel, who at this point is a fucking 4. He's just on fire. I mean, fucking thrown in. He himself are just melting from the flames. What can I say that already hasn't been said about Mike McDaniels and the shit show of a season that the Dolphins have had? I mean, you went into it the year prior paying a bunch of guys, kind of realizing that wasn't the way to go. Needing cap space to kind of realize that the program and culture you've built is not sufficient to winning. Then what do? You get rid of Vic Fangio because guys were bitching about how he coached them up, in the locker room. Cool. Offensively, you don't really get better. You actually get worse. You got a year where Tyreek Hill regresses. Jalen Waddle's battling with injury, but things just really aren't, working out the way they need to. And then you go into the fact that Mike McDaniel's whole preference and skill set and job title and operative Miranda has been offense. And for them to be 26 in points, averaging 20 points per game, just really shows that, he's just not as effective. Maybe he's lost his curveball, lost the sharpness, but it's not there. It's not there. He's drowning. This team's drowning. The Dolphins, just rat bastard situation. But Mike McDaniel, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't put all the blame on him. Obviously, Chris Greer getting fired, he definitely is going to wear some culpability. But Mike McDaniel definitely is going to get fired at the end of the year with the way this team has performed. And I feel like if they get rid of Mike McDaniel, they have to review is keeping Tua the starter, even something logically sound going forward. Maybe if you got to draft a young guy, but we shall see. Next, we're going to talk about the Carolina Panthers. Dave Canales. Dave Canales, I have it at 2. I have him at a warm. Dave Canales is just, I must admit, I have to really change this one live while I'm recording this, talking to you. I got to change this to a fucking 1. Dave Canales just finds a way to keep winning. The Panthers are sneaky. I'm going to continue to say this to anybody who will listen. They are going to be a tough out for anybody that they play. You are not going to easily walk down the field on them and just drag it and just push the ball wherever you want. No, you're going to get some type of contention. So, got to give credit there where credit is due. Dave Canales has had this team prepared. This team has looked focused. They look way better than they did a year ago. Still some flaws, still some issues, still some things that have to be rectified and worked out. But ultimately, Dave Canales deserves a fucking gold medal for the job that he's been able to do. Again, your offense, you're rate 27th in points. Not great, but you're 16th in defense for points allowed. So counteract that. It works out there. Looking here a bit further. We got Kevin Stefanski. Stefanski, I got him at a 3. Definitely hot seat. Browns have just been a shit show. I don't even understand how or why, Stefanski has been able to last this long. Most coaches would have been fired by now for some of their decision making. I feel like now Stefanski was just like, this year, fuck it. We're not going to win anyway. Let me just try anything, throw shit at the wall, and let's just see what sticks. Because the Browns literally, after the clusterfuck of quarterback signings that they made in the offseason and all these adjustments and moves, they still have the 30th ranked offense in the NFL. So it's just really, really, really sucks for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, you're in a situation where, again, you can't really put it together. You had Joe Flacco. He's now in a division rival where you traded him to, which made no fucking sense. The Browns have serious issues they're going to have to really address once all this shit is said and done. But it's just terrible. It's really terrible. Stefanski's really been able to skate on these bullshit ass like Coach of the Year trophies, but ultimately coaching the subpar playoff records and winning wild card berths. I didn't think that was really all the criteria needed to win Coach of the Year, but voted amongst your peers. Keep that in mind. Next, we're going to talk about the Giants' Briandaboll. This one is kind of weird for me. Briandaboll, I have it a 1. And the reason why I have it at a 1, least likely, simmer, for lack of better words, got him at a low simmer. Here's the thing. When you really put 2 and 2 together and you think about it, Briandaboll knew for a fact going into this year, just like the general manager, Joe Shane, knew. After the debacle last year of letting Saquon Barkley walk to a division rival and not doing the due diligence needed, they knew the pressure was going to be on them to figure this out and get this done right. Briandaboll has kind of gotten to a situation where he's kind of just, for lack of better words, he rigged it to where he knew at any point that Russell was going to tank, he could easily pull him out quickly and try to salvage something of a season to give John Mara the necessary credence to keep him. Because, I mean, come on, like, let's just do the math. Russell Wilson deserved to be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants. Come on, that didn't even make sense. Now, granted, I give them credit for what they did, but Daboll has just consistently put this team in situations where I feel like his play calling has been inconsistent. I feel like he's abandoned the running game sometimes a little too quickly. And this is really an indictment on his play calling too, because I think the elephant in the room that nobody's really saying out loud, Jackson Dart's playing well, but has not really thrown for a high amount of yards, decent production, but you critique guys of higher ilk, higher status, and you look at Briandaboll, I mean, from the tirade on the sidelines, tweaking on the injury guys and the doctors while, he had a player getting evaluated, Jackson Dart essentially getting evaluated for a concussion. I think, though, with all that being said, he's going to avoid it because this team hasn't quit on him. He literally dodged the worst of the worst, and now he's just kind of weathering the storm. They knew this team wasn't going to be a winner. It's actually going to be kind of like weird not to see, the Giants kind of trying to make it a push leap, but it's really been one of the type of years where between the energy and the way the Giants have played and just their philosophy with things, I just don't see Briandaboll getting fired right now. Now, we'll see in a year, but right now, don't see it happening. Coming up, rounding up the last 3, we're going to talk about Jonathangannon in Arizona. Good old Uncle Gannon. Now, I must admit, this one right here, he kind of delayed the inevitable a bit by winning that game against the sorry-ass Cowboys, but Jonathangannon is by far one of those situations where it's like, he's not only on a 4-alarm fire as far as like coaching job. There's a chance if this team doesn't look decent by the end of the year, a game or 2 better than what they were this past year, he's getting fired. He's getting fired. There's no way you can be able to justify consistently bringing him back. What program are you implementing when Kyler Murray, told you guys I was going to get to this, Kyler Murray can't stay healthy? I mean, to the point where we're all questioning what's going on because Jacoby Brissett is playing a lot longer than what we all kind of thought. Like, oh, okay, he's just sticking around. No. So, I don't know. I mean, Jonathangannon, the whole issue too with the player that he had, with the tirade with the player on the sidelines, things are just not looking great. Great win against the Dallas Cowboys last night, so that goes a long way. But, yeah. It's going to have to put it together somewhat to really, really, really establish the things that he may want and he may want the franchise to want, but I don't think he's going to last long enough to continue to implement what he wants for the franchise, just being completely honest. Next, we got Aaronglenn. I have this one as a 1. Now, if Jonathangannon, I had it a 4, 4-alarm fire, I have to put Aaronglenn at a 1. Aaronglenn is still in his rookie inaugural season as head coach of the Jets. I know a lot of Jets fans, some that have watched the show and some that I've run into in public have clamored for this guy to be fired. I can literally promise you, the entire problem is not Aaronglenn. The facility is kind of in a situation where Aaronglenn knew, they had a lot of good resources allocated to a lot of things, but some things that are still lacking. Defensively, they've gotten worse. Offensively, it seems like they're making some type of headway, but this is a situation where I got this at a very, 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 very low simmer. But something to keep an eye on when it's the Jets and it's Woody Johnson and, his kids are kind of running it through man ratings. You got to always keep that in mind. And last but not least, to end this episode, we're going to talk about the Bengals' Zach Taylor. Now, initially, I was a bit hesitant to put Zach Taylor on this list. Zach Taylor is kind of really Super Bowl berth a couple years ago, got into the playoffs, and he's missed the playoffs the past couple years. Definitely not a good look. Excuse me. Definitely not a good look. You put into the fact that teams consistently starts out slow to start the season. They changed their philosophy this year. They go into it playing in the preseason and getting some snaps. Start the season well. Burrow gets injured. Derails things from there. Kind of the revolving door of waiting for Burrow to get healthy and Chase to get healthy and the contract situation to get worked out. I know that Zach Taylor wore a lot of hats and had to maintain peace for a lot of different situations and arguments. However, when you know for a fact that there's a good chance, this ain't gonna work out, or I may not be the guy for this situation. The Bengals are devious. They won't just fire him. They won't just let him go now or say, hey, that loss to the Bears was so egregious, we gotta fucking get rid of you. No, they're gonna let him play out the contract, and because they're cheap, I want to make sure I stress emphasis, because they're cheap, they're going to make sure that he's going in the offseason. So Zach Taylor, I had it at a 2, but after that loss, I have it at a 3 right now. He's definitely fighting for his job. I don't know if Burrow coming back is even going to be a thing with the way that defense is playing, but we shall see. That's going to do it for this exclusive Patreon episode. Again, NFL head coaches on the hot seat, excuse me. I love you guys for plugging in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share this as well. I want people to definitely plug in. More traffic to the channel, more people plugging in definitely helps. Thank you guys. I love you. I'll be back possibly in another week with another different type of episode for my Patreon exclusive viewers. So take care and enjoy the rest of your day.